stream is cleared for takeoff.
Hello, hey folks, welcome to our July developer stream for Microsoft Flight Simulator. My name is Jayne, I'm the Senior Community Manager for Microsoft Flight Simulator, hosting the stream today. Look forward to answering many of your questions. I'd love to introduce our panel of three here. Welcome back, Jorg Neumann, head of Microsoft Flight Simulator. How are you doing?
Great.
Glad to have you. And in the middle, we have Sebastian Wloch, Asobo CEO and co-founder. Hey, Seb.
Hello.
And back with us again, we have Martial Bossard, executive producer at Asobo Studio. Welcome back.
Thank you. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Glad to have the three of you here back together again. It's been a couple months. Before we get started, chat, let me know what country you're tuning in from. I'd love to know. We got a great global community of people here. Throw it in chat. We'll read it out in a little bit. We have plenty of great answers or questions really from you that you've sent through our blog. We've gone through that. We've picked out many of those. We look forward to answering them. But of course, as always, we'll answer some live questions today from you in chat. There are designated Q&A sessions. You'll see it says Q&A on the screen. When you see that, that's when we'll start looking at those questions in chat. So we do ask that you hold until those designated moments. And we do want to say we also have a very special guest from FlightFX joining us at the end of the stream. So look forward to that as well. But before we get to that, I will go ahead and hand the mic off to Jorg to start our presentation.
Thank you, Jayne. All right, so good to see y'all. It's been a little while. It's almost tradition now that when we start these, I say thank you. There's a variety of things I'm really thankful for. First off, tons of people are playing or simming. Last few months, we've seen a steady increase of people coming to 2024, which is great. But what makes me most happy is that we have more people than we had last year. So the hobby is growing, which is fundamentally awesome. Then if you go to the next slide, I want to also say thank you for your patience. The sim updates, we're working hard on them, but they're obviously a little bit delayed, and we'll get to that in a second. And before we get into the answering questions and things, I just wanted to put a picture here because that's a personal hero of mine. Like, he inspired me almost since I was a little guy. And it's, I don't know if you know this, but he died unexpectedly last week, and it's just tragic. Just wanted to say thank you, Felix, for doing what you did. You brought aviation forward. All right. So then, since we last met, on May 21st. We since then launched City Update 11. Here's Providence. I heard that a lot of people had a great time at the Flight Sim Expo. We're really sorry that we weren't there because we were busy. Next year, we're planning to be there. So that would be fun. And then we also had the third makeup plane, which is the Piper Dakota, that I saw lots of good feedback. So glad you liked it. And then we look at the roadmap real quick. Here's where we left off last time. So we're a little bit, obviously on calendar, we're a little bit more than halfway through the year. We have lots and lots of cool things coming. We spent most of the year so far addressing feedback, fixing issues. I think we're slowly but surely coming out of this. And then the second part of the year is going to be more fun, new things that we can talk about. Okay. So next on the roadmap are two sim updates. As you know, let's talk a little bit about 2020. So sim update 16, we are still shooting for target date 7/29. And I just wanted to go show a quick slide what we actually all did. And then we had late breaking news, maybe. Seb or Marcel, do you want to speak to it?
Okay. So we just published a new version fixing some significant improving stability. And the feedbacks and the numbers we're getting is showing that we're almost there. It looks good, and thank you everybody for the feedback you gave us. This is really helpful for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, as you know, the whole point of Simulator 16 was we got more memory from the Xbox platform, so that's good for people who use specific Xbox Series S. Then we backported the TIN format. Bing changed the TIN format, so that means photogrammetry actually is improving. texture compression, and then we updated the aerials. Lionel was here last time to show how 2024 actually got brought back, like the tree mask, for example. So that's all that. Working title did a bunch of work. So they updated the Epic, the EONS, the Garmin suite, and also then the DAR, the longitude. The working title 21 was updated. New Boeing avionics and the MacBow was updated, and then Gaia actually fixed about 500 things or so because of the new aerials came in. Basically, there had to be adjustments made, and that all worked really well. That's already in the so for those of you who are in the beta, you saw that, and we think it's a really, really good update for 2020. And then there's a little bit more in 2020. So I got a ton of emails specifically after launch where people said, "Hey, so what if we don't want to move over to 2024? Can we get some of these planes?" So we actually hadn't really planned on this, but I heard that. So we are now slowly but surely going to release them. It seems like some of you really enjoy that, so I'm grateful. So we released last week the CL415 and the Optica. I think we're going to release probably 3 a week or so, and it's going to take us a long time, like through the year probably, but at least you will see, if you really want to stay on 2020, most of the planes, not all of them, some of them won't work and some of them are just out of scope for us, but we will try. So I just wanted to say, because there was always this thing like, are you going to support 2020? It's like, well, yeah, we just did a sim update, we're bringing planes, so we're definitely supporting it. All right, and the next thing, 2024, sim update 3 has been baking for a while. And again, we start with Asobo. You guys want to speak to it?
Let me take my notes there. Yeah, so we've got a long list of improvements. Not everything is there. I can't even remember exactly the amount of bugs that we did. Yeah, it's a ton of them. Well, Seb, do you have the numbers, the latest numbers? Do you remember?
I think it's over 1,000. I think it's 2,000 or something.
It's around 2,000, yeah. So we were still working on a VRAM and trying to reduce the consumption, and we think we'll also find a potential leak. The VRAM situation should be improved. We've added the ability to download airports. Well, we said aircraft and airports there. Basically, it's all the packages, so it includes mission and everything that can be streamed, can now be downloaded. What do we have? Multiplayer fixes. Yes, we did some fixes for co-pilot liveries and the replication of the character. We've got a new Flow API. This is super important and super interesting for what we're going to talk about next. Now we've got an API that allows WASM and JavaScript to and SimConnect to be told about the sim flow. So basically, we are sending events that says like the plane IP has been set back on track, or in the air flying, or a crash, for instance, and it will help every third party to be carrier compatible, or at least it will help people to be carrier compatible. What do we have next? Well, carrier polish, we had a lot of bugs and we did a lot of fixes from the carrier. So I know that we've been working a lot on the search and rescue helicopter missions. We removed the missions that were happening on water runways, for instance, some helipads that were not compliant with the missions. Well, we did a lot of things like that. And also, I think we brought a lot of fixes for the freelancer missions. Anything else? I don't know. Something important. I don't know if I'm saying that here. We did also some fixes on the tech art parts, and especially lights in daytime. People were complaining about that, so this has been fixed. As for the rain effects, some glass opacities, some non-flare, so everything about lighting has been updated.
Thanks, Martial. We see here it says ongoing VRAM optimizations, and
Yes.
I'm seeing from chat. Can you explain why that is ongoing and the complexities behind improving VRAM?
Seb, do you want to talk about code in, I don't know.
Yeah, it's I think it's a very difficult system. a lot of things are in VRAM, so not just terrain or planes, but also the UI menu, everything, glass cockpits. So everything that's displayed on screen is in VRAM in terms of textures, but also mesh, shaders. There's so many things, and basically there is so much that it doesn't all fit. And so the goal is to only put into VRAM what is needed when it's drawn, and that's not so easy. So I think the optimizations we've been done in the past is sometimes we have had leaks or just stuff which is too big, and then the optimization is also to make sure we can fast enough bring stuff into VRAM when it's needed. Generally, when you slow down a lot is when you have more stuff displayed than you have room in VRAM, and basically it needs to, every frame it needs to pull out stuff and pull in new stuff to be able to display. Yeah, so I don't know exactly the detail of the next steps, but I know it's been improving. The last tests I did, I gained a few gigabytes. This is ongoing. I think it's going to be there's also an asset side optimization. So if a texture is 4K but could be 2K, obviously that's going to be easier on VRAM. So I think that's going to be ongoing for some time.
Great. Thank you so much, Seb. All right, we'll continue looking at Sim Update 3 here with working title updates.
Yeah, so nobody from Working Title is here, so I'll take this. So Working Title did a bunch on ATC improvements. You see here what they did: departure, altitude, clearance, descent via star, etc., etc. WASM API for charts, the JS API for wind data, general avionics improvement all over the place. The Boeing avionics were improved. Model matchings were improved, so they collaborated with Asobo on this. A lot of things on the EFB. The web flight planner it's just been updated, and then several aircraft improvements, and that's actually, I think, the next slide.
Yes.
So we obviously have a ton of aircraft in the sim, something like 70. I just put a list, it's not complete, of all the planes that got updated for Sim Update 3. I think this is 28. When I did the count, I think we have almost 40 that got updated. So you see that in the change list that's coming out next week, hopefully, whenever it ships, actually. And the next thing I wanted to highlight is kind of what Seb just touched on. Gaia did a bunch of work with airports. So there's a lot of optimization work going on that's really going to help both performance and stability. I think they're currently at 40 something, and we think that effort, so this is a new techniques being applied to making the airports more optimal as far as memory load. This is going to take us probably to the end of August. There's a pretty large team working on this, but it's great to see, and what we've seen, it really helps perf. All right, and then here I just had, here the partners that contributed on this particular update. So there's some things I didn't talk about. Fabio did updates to the flight control replay, for example. Orbex did updates to the obstacles. So tons and tons of work. And then I think somebody said, when is it coming? And we honestly don't know. So there's a couple of things that are, I think Martial mentioned it earlier, the stutters need to be looked at, and there's a couple of other things that we are chasing. And then we have to go through certification. So it's 729 looks a little iffy now. I actually don't think that's going to happen, but we are very close. So hopefully very soon. And then here, just a feedback snapshot, just to show this. I don't feel like we should spend all of our time here, but this is more of a, so we didn't update this last week, and actually we're not going to do it this week either. It's a fair amount of work because, I mean, we spent, what, 3 days updating this because we actually asked the team on every single item what's going on. So we're probably going to update it for reals next week publicly. But out of the top, if you just scroll down, don't do it too far. I know some folks might capture this. Out of the top 96 or something, I think 50 are either fixed or in progress of being fixed for Sim Update 3. Some others are for Sim Update 4. Some of them we don't have any repro anymore, so this probably means that they're gone. But we've done a ton of work to address all the main feedback items that we have.
Awesome.
All right, now we get to Q&A. The reason why I'm rushing a little, we got a ton of questions, so we need to go.
We do. We do. So we'll go ahead and start with our Q&A. So chat, feel free to ask questions. We have different sections. This first one will be some follow-up questions from prior streams where you've asked a question and maybe we said we don't know yet, but we'll let you know. So the first follow-up question is, lots of add-ons are using WASM to operate within the sim. One of the most annoying issues when flying is a WASM crash, where the aircraft or add-on becomes completely unusable and a sim restart is needed. What is the reason that WASM can't be restarted after a crash to continue on with the flight?
Well, the very first reason is that if it crashes, it's because it's in bad state. And if we have to restart it, it can be started by using nothing, because the WASM has to track the plane's position. So what we could do is to kind of keep an image or something like that of the code that is used there, and then bring it back when it has crashed. But if we do that, we will crash again. So unfortunately, it's not. We are not in good position here. But what we did, and this could also help, and we are thinking about that, and we will talk about the class cockpit. It's the shared cockpit later. It's also the kind of thing that we could do is to have an API that will help us to save some of the data. And then we will be able to restart the WASM module with a new API that tells the state of the current flight. And with the variables being saved, we could try to restore the WASM in a good state. So we are thinking about that. It's a tech that we will have to develop from scratch. So I don't know exactly when it will be for, but we've got some good ideas to be in a better position than today, for sure.
Yep. Thanks, Martial. In the last dev stream, Seb said he would look into being able to reduce or eliminate fauna, static aircraft at airports, etc. as options on Xbox, as he believed it was a bug that the options are missing. Can we have an update on if Xbox users will see these settings return soon?
Yeah, I checked with the team who tell me that it's still planned for Sim Update 3. So I think it's going to come into one of the latest updates.
Mm.
So it's definitely in progress. If it's not Sim Update 3, it's going to be 4.
Yeah.
But it's been definitely started. And but the team told me planned for 3. So people should check if it's in the next updates.
Okay. Thank you, Seb. Next question. The 2024 community finds the current UI overly flashy, particularly criticizing the rapid camera zoom out when accessing menus, as it disrupts immersion. Users seek clarity on whether the developers plan to allow disabling these effects or make UI refinements that prioritize functionality.
Yeah, so this is a big topic right now between us on the development side. So we're actually looking at two things: the UI all up and the marketplace in particular. And I've went around and asked at Microsoft we have a group called UR, so these are researchers. They're basically all a bunch of PhDs in behavioral science. They focus on things like UX. So we're doing a full review right now of exactly what's going on, taking your feedback into account, and this is going to be an effort. I don't think it's going to be for SU4. I'm not sure yet, honestly. We're right in the middle of it, but we heard you loud and clear. And this is when, so I think the question is, are you guys going to do something about it? Yes. We don't have an exact date yet, but we are currently actively looking at this, yes.
Great. Thanks, Jorg. And last follow-up, we mentioned a couple streams ago having someone from Marketplace team come on to answer some Marketplace-specific questions. Are there any guests joining us today?
Just me. But I did talk to the Marketplace team, so I have answers. There's a special section on Marketplace, so we'll talk about this in a little bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, some questions from chat here. With streaming of assets in 2024, why do aircraft updates in particular have to wait for a sim update release instead of being streamed to simmers as soon as the new aircraft is ready?
There's no particular reason for it. There's some tests that we need to do, and if it has WASM, it actually has a dependency. So we are currently we're trying to do a good job focusing on these larger updates, but we have the ability to update some things in the middle. So we might actually end up doing this at some point soon.
Yeah. All right. In Sim Update 3 beta, we read the next release note that said modified the new LOD curve over the screen size 100% and activated the new curve by default. Can you please give the floor to Seb to enlighten us? Does this, for example, mean that creators have to spend less time optimizing their LODs?
Yeah, so you want me to explain maybe?
It's an equation, so you've got no choice.
Yeah. So it's so the answer I have is a bit complex, but basically what it means is that the LOD curve has been adjusted several times based on developer feedback. They say initially it was a parabola, then they made it linear, and now what they did is basically it stays a parabola below 100%, and then it's linear. Basically, the goal is to give the best curve possible that makes it as easy as possible to create these LODs. And there has been now 3 iterations already, and so we hope that the last version is going to be cool for everybody. And so basically, curve means how far does a LOD need to be for it to switch, and the issue is that people would like to have more detail in certain distances. Generally, we initially had a curve where it was just pixel density, which is constant, like the detail density is constant on screen, but the issue is that, for example, far away, you may want to have less detail than if we keep constant density, and close to the user you may have more. So that's why they changed the curve. And yeah, based on feedback, there's been 2 adjustments, up or below 100%. If there is still requests to change this, we can go further. The only thing they told me is that this new curve obviously brings in a little bit more detail than before, and so everything is a little bit more heavy. And I think that's why they did something in VR, so that the VR is a specific case, so that it doesn't penalize performance in VR.
Thank you, Seb. A question from chat. Would there ever be able to be separate settings for live air traffic and live ship traffic? Right now they are combined into a single setting.
This is a kind of refactor that has been done, thinking it was a good idea. Sometimes it's not. So please tell us.
We just talked about it. We just talked about it with Damien this week, actually.
Exactly.
So we hear you, and yes, things will be done. It's not on the SU4 map yet, but I think we're at least talking about it.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, cloud depiction. On the forum, we see lively discussions about the depiction of clouds. It's an area of great importance. The consensus seems to be that MSFS is depicting Cumulus as an area of small cotton ball puffs instead of a vast and massive cloud bank. Many simmers want to see the latter. Are you planning to spend more time on perfecting the clouds for Sim Update 4?
Yeah, so the team explained that there was, first of all, there was an issue introduced in the cloud rendering that slightly degraded the quality, which has been found. They investigated, they found the issue, and that's going to be fixed. Not sure if it's Sim Update 3 or 4, probably 4. And then, yeah, the further improvement, I think it's going to be about maybe a bigger change to the system. If we want to have a bigger introduction of cumulonimbus or stuff like that, or different shapes. Also, it's in relation with the live weather. So I think that's something where ideally we have backlogged it, but ideally if we can have a priority, like maybe in the wish list or something, once we go more into features and less into bugs, depending on how high it's going to be upvoted in the wish list, we're going to take it sooner or later. But I think in order to go further, we need a bigger rework of the cloud system in the future.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Seb. All right, Cloud Clock Sync. In 2024, why does the Cloud Simulation Clock start in the main menu instead of on the sim load like in 2020? It causes multiplayer cloud desync when using weather presets, even when all users spawn at the same location in time. Can we get an option to control or reset the internal cloud position clock for weather presets to allow consistent weather visuals for multiplayer or group flying? This would massively improve coordination in gliding and other shared weather scenarios.
Yes, so the reason is because of the big change between 2020 and 2024. 2020 has a completely different environment in the menu and in the sim. And every time we go from the menu to the sim, we kill the menu and reload the sim from scratch, and the cloud simulation starts there. That's why the loading is a little bit longer in 2020. And 24, when you load into the main menu the first time, we start the sim, and we just hop in and out of the sim. But we have a way to reset and restart the cloud simulation or to sync it. We use that for many different things, like for missions, for replays. And so the team has the tool, so it's been written down and added to our to-do list, and this is going to be fixed.
Awesome. Thank you, Seb. Question from chat. Jorg, is there any word on updating famous flyers and local legends in 2024? They're in bad shape despite a paid Aviators edition.
Yeah. So I'm writing down stuff in the chat. So there's actually a slide on this later. This is I mean, I can answer it now here or later, Jayne.
I guess we could do now.
Okay. So I think it's sort of the original plan was that we did not want to necessarily move all famous flyer and local legends over the 2024 native. In part, that is true because some of these teams don't exist anymore, quite frankly. But I saw the feedback, so we've now started, and I'll probably prioritize them based on y'all's feedback, maybe usage. But it's going to take a little bit of time. Like in some cases, quite a bit of time. In some cases, actually pretty quick. I know that Oliver did some stuff. So we have his planes in a better state. So I would say the long answer is can't commit to all of them because I don't have even dev teams for some of these planes at this point. But we will try to get them done. Mm-hmm. It's just a big time.
Great. Thank you, Jorg. All right. A few questions on some bugs. Let's start on Xbox stuttering. What is being done to address the major stuttering problem on Xbox? The stutters on the current SU3 build are really impacting the usability of the sim.
Seb, I don't know if you want to talk about that. This is one major issue that has been detected, and we are hardly working on that. Just before this call, this event, I was talking to the team to get some progression. So Seb, I don't know if you want to add some words on that matter.
Yeah, so apparently we now have a clear way to reproduce it, and so we use performance tools that has been started, and from what we know is they have narrowed down quite a bit the issue, and we're working into fixing it, hopefully as soon as we can, in the next days, hopefully. But it's been narrowed down now,
which is great. That was the problem.
Certainly. All right, thank you both. SimConnect CTDs. In the SimUpdate 3 beta, we suddenly were confronted with SimConnect CTDs. This took us by surprise because there was nothing in the release notes that pointed in this direction. Can you expand a little on how something like this happens and how you plan to prevent such an event in the future?
So the precise crash on SimConnect is a crash which was there before, which is there in 2020. And what happened is in SimUpdate 3, the frequency of the crash was multiplied by about 20 or something, like 20, maybe 50, between 20 and 50. And so that's been fixed now, and we're back to the older numbers. It's not been completely eliminated. We are struggling actually to reproduce the crash. We know it's crashing still in the very latest version because we have data which shows that there's been hits on this crash. but we don't know how to reproduce it, and we don't know why it's crashing. So we're back now to numbers which are on the level or even better than it was in 2020. I just looked also at the numbers in 2020. It was already there, but probably only rare cases. So how this happens? Well, basically it's a crash which was there before, so it's not something which is gonna catch attention when we do an update and we see that crash, because it's there before, and it only starts to be visible when we look at statistics, which we can only look at after some time. Basically depends like the crash numbers on the semi-update beta are pretty small, because the number of people is not as high as on the actual release build, and so it's not easily visible that a crash is going to be more frequent or less frequent. And also we don't have I mean, that's why the beta is there, right? It's there to find issues before they go into the wide release, and we don't have a QA capability to test the entire scope of everything every day. And so especially SimConnect, which is usually linked to external tools. And so, well, even if QA would have seen a crash there, they would have said, yeah, that crash existed before, so it's nothing new. And in order to measure frequency, that really takes a beta and numbers to look at. So, well, I think in order to prevent this, I don't know if it can be prevented. We can continue, and we will continue to do beta tests like this to catch issues before they go to a wider public, which is I think the goal of the beta. And so I think this just shows that the system has been working as expected. Something which is difficult to see, where it's just a question of frequency has been caught because of the existence of the beta and fixed. So I think it's working as expected. Obviously, we would have liked to see this before, but in this case, it's I mean, a new crash we can easily catch, but an old crash which becomes more frequent is very difficult to identify.
Mm-hmm. That's a great explanation. Thank you, Seb. And we have here, there's a weird graphical artifact mentioned in this forum link here. Is this on our side or AMD side, and is there a plan for a fix? It is graphical artifacts around the cockpit at night on AMD cards.
Yeah, so I talked to the art rendering team. They have been investigating, and right now they're how do you say? They think it's probably a driver issue, but they didn't give me a 100% confirmation. But they think it's on the driver side. Next steps will be to investigate, maybe directly with AMD, see if they can do anything, or see if we can have a workaround, understand what it is exactly. But right now, yeah, the team is thinking it's on the driver side.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Seb. All right, we will
Hey,
continue.
Jayne, can we take a couple that I wrote down? I just want to.
Sure. Sounds
otherwise
great.
we'll never get to these. Somebody asked about the Husky. So we actually wanted to port the Husky, and then the manufacturer had some comments on wanting us to update to a completely different and new Husky. We're like, okay, well, that's a different plane. So we got into a little bit of a conversation about this, which is the actual cause why we haven't ported the plane yet. I think that has resolved itself. So I think this is something we can look into now. I would expect us to spend a few months doing this. So don't expect it anytime soon, but I wrote it down and we'll take a look. Mm-hmm. And somebody said something about the CRJ V2. I have no idea. This is a plane from Aerosoft. Hans actually is working on this, but somebody said, why is it taking so long? I have no idea. So just that you know, this is not our plane. Gliders, somebody said, hey, did you read our glider list? Yes, and you just heard that with the thermals that Seb talked about earlier, so and the cloud stuff. So we're going to look at this. The list has been communicated to the team. It's being prioritized. So definitely that feedback was awesome. Hey, Seb, there was something that I thought maybe you can go into with them. I don't know if this is the right time. Somebody was said about the main thread lock. Do you want to talk about what you guys are doing or experimenting with?
Main thread lock, or just
main thread in general, that it's sort of a limiter?
Yeah. Depending on the configuration, the main thread may be the limiter of performance. Actually, on my computer, it's now the render thread. There's been quite a lot of optimizations going on the main thread. We're still looking at this, and there's been a little bit of optimization Simulbit 3, but Simulbit 4 is going to bring a bit more focus on performance. For example, we have moved the user aircraft simulation has always been on main thread, so it's been multi-threaded. So that means that the main thread, for example, needs to simulate the CFD, and it's going to create I think it's 20 jobs, which are being computed by all CPUs, including the main thread. And when it's finished, the main thread can go on. So it was still blocking the main thread and completely on the main thread with a cost of about 3 milliseconds per frame, a little bit less if you had higher FPS. That's been completely moved to completely another thread, so it's not blocking main. And we're still working on many other stuff like inputs, airport management to optimize on the main thread, to slowly bring it lower and lower and make sure we're not CPU limited that much anymore.
Yep, I thought so. It sounds super cool. When Seb told me, I was like, "Oh, really cool, awesome!" Anyways, just wanted to say that. And somebody was asking about liveries. Are there more liveries coming to, I think, air traffic and static? And I'm happy to say we have been signing really quite a few liveries, and the Asobo art director is with some team happily painting them up. When are they going to come out? Don't know yet. Probably some update 4 or something, but there's some really good ones. So I'm actually quite excited about this. Then somebody was asking for the list of the models we have for model matching, which I think is a good idea, and I actually think we should put that on our webpage.
Yep.
So I think we should follow up because Ben has the list. We made hundreds of planes. Then somebody said, "Hey, can't you ask third parties to provide a low res model of their plane for model matching, just to explain how this works?" So these planes sit on a Microsoft server, and we need to be 100% sure that whatever data we have there is licensed. And while we expect everybody to have proper license, we would have to go. We would have to go into a place that we're not. We would check people's licenses and stuff. So I think we're stuck with the planes that we make are being model matched, and we are a little bit limited. Like there's a few manufacturers that we don't have licenses with, but really very few. I think it's Bombardier and Lockheed and BAE, but very few. And so if you have something that you think is really missing, I'd love to hear about it. So just give some feedback. Let's see here. And EFB on Xbox, somebody said it doesn't work, the controller doesn't work. I think that's known. It's not, and so I'm catching the stuff, Jayne, that is not on our submitted. Yeah. So I think that's known. We need to talk to Working Title about this when it's coming, but I've heard Chris Burnett talk about it. And I think that's all I had written down. Check that. Yep. All right, let's keep going.
All right. I'm seeing a lot of great questions that we do have in our list here. So some of the repeated ones that I see, we'll get to it. All right. This is the question we kind of went over already, I believe. Aviators Edition and
so the
Premium Deluxe.
Yeah. So there were a couple of things. So I think you actually pointed out the Dreamlifter. There are some planes where the art really didn't get together right before launch. So that is being worked on now. It's a collaboration between 2 really good teams. So I expect this to be all fixed in the next month or 2, maybe a month. But there's actively being worked on. I think the Vision Jet's already better. The Longitude is much better. TBM, all that stuff's in SU3. The remaining ones are going to be all in SU4 or before. As you pointed out, we could do this before. So we'll look into this. Bug responsibility, it's true. So basically, we obviously work with a lot of partner teams, and they create the aircraft, and they do have to fix the bugs. We have what we call ADOs with all of them. So that's basically what our bug database in this case. And the A400M is sort of a little bit of a special case in that there was quite a it's complicated planes, and the teams worked through the Airbus fleet, as we typically call it, literally all the time. You will see, if you look at the plane list that we had earlier, I think all the Airbuses are updated for Sim Update 3 except the Atlas. But maybe this is one of those that we can sneak in the middle of something. But I know they're working on it. Like I working on, and iBelts actually has been great over the last months fixing stuff. And what else is there? Okay. Then ATR. The reason why I didn't answer this question before, that comes up in the thread all the time. So I just talked to Hans last weekend, I think, and we both agreed that we should. It's what we call expert series plane, so it needs to be updated. So this is now that he's done with the CRJ, we're going to go tackle this.
Nice. Next is Pilatus PC12 and 24 fixes.
So the PC12 is updated. There was all the stuff with there's some issues at high altitudes and stuff like that. That's all fixed. The PC24, I'm not 100% sure. I know they've been working on it. I thought there was an update, but I'll double check on this. But Coronado also has been top-notch working through feedback.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the last one already.
We did, correct.
Yeah.
All right. Career mode aircraft. When will we be getting the remaining certifications along with heavy and super heavy missions, as well as Airbus aircraft for career mode?
Yeah. Well, so this was actually one of our big goals for SU3, and I think it's not going to make it. It has something. Seb, do you want to go into this, because you looked into this more closely?
The latest issue that we encountered is that basically when an aircraft is spawned in the air, it needs to have all the you don't start cold and dark, right? You need to have everything set into a state where the aircraft can fly, and one of the key parameters is the speed of the aircraft. Speed is very complex for aircrafts, but it's important to understand that aircraft don't fly in the world; they fly in a mass of air, which is sometimes moving. If you've flown intercontinental, you know that sometimes you can have a display where it says that the plane is flying at whatever 500 knots or something, but sometimes it will say backwind or tailwind or 200 miles per hour, something like this, because the air mass is moving. And basically, when aircraft are spawned, we use a Simba where we set the aircraft speed. There are several ways to set. You can set the ground speed, which is really a world speed, like a Newtonian physics speed, or you can set a IRS, TIS, all these things. Basically, we did not really. Asobo has not changed the way we set IRS, for example. It's still old code, and we've never found it working perfectly. So for all the aircraft we've been created and which are present in missions, we've always set the world speed, which is called like body speed or world speed. And it's a bit tricky because you need to adapt that depending on the altitude. If the airplane is flying at 30,000 feet, the ground speed and the air speed are significantly different. And so you need to really convert the speed, find the right one, and that's how we've been doing it. And so this is new for aircraft makers, because in the missions you can now teleport and skip from place to place, and this is not something that has been done before. And people wanted to use the IS, which is it's very easy. It's easier because you know your airplane is cruising at 270 knots. You just set to 270, it just works. But unfortunately, that thing is not working, and it's never been working correctly. And so in the short term, we ask people, hey, do it like we do, just set the world speed. But that's not so easy, right? There can be issues with the wind. You need to know the altitude you're flying at, convert it, and it's not always going to work perfectly. So our plan is to repair the IS and Ideally, probably create a new Simba or a version of the Simba so that people who were using the old one can still have it working as it was before, but make a new one which works, I would say, perfectly, and you set 270, you get 270, so that can be used. And in the short term, the solution is to just set the body speed, which is not perfect, and we know about that. So that's blocking, because if you don't get the speed right and you skip to whatever final, if you're 100 knots too fast or too slow, the plane, I mean, if you're too slow, it will fall out of the sky. If you're too fast, you may overspeed and crash or something like this.
Yeah. So to be clear, the Airbuses from Einbills, they've had a bunch of fixes, except this. This is not solved yet. So
yeah. So once that's solved, then
that's right.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Seb. And question from the chat. Speaking of career mode, is there a larger vision for career mode's future, like saying multiplayer traffic, virtual airlines, or global goals everyone can work on collectively, Helldivers 2 style?
Yeah, that was talked about even for launch. It was just, I mean, you know, we had our hands full and then some, right? As you know by now. It's something the team clearly wants to do, right? It's totally the vision, what you just said. It'll take time.
Yep.
I mean, we have bugs to fix before we go do those types of things. Mm-hmm. It sounds cool. We're all excited about it. I'm still really surprised actually how many people. Like, we had some sort of estimates how many people are actually going to play the career, and it's a lot higher than I thought ever. Because if you know, simulation has always been free flight, and I was like, maybe 20% will spend their time in career, but it's much higher than that. So it's encouraging. Clearly, we did something right, and then there's it's a V1, so there's problems, no doubt, and things that can be improved. So, but it's encouraging that people like it.
Yeah. All right. A couple SDK questions. Are there any plans to create an SDK tutorial that highlights the process of adding 2024 features to a monolithic project? Converting 2020 aircraft to modular format is a daunting task for smaller dev teams.
So the answer is yes. So we're working actually on that on two sides. The SDK team is working on the documentation, and the plane team we have there is also planning to create some how-tos. And among these how-tos, that will be mostly videos, I think. We've got some prototype of that. It's not ready yet, but we've got the very first version of this. Great. There's one about this, like bringing old format planes to the new ones.
Yeah.
And explaining how the modular planes are working. Maybe we will have more information during the dev string, SDK dev string that we will do in September.
In September, we're going to talk to the SDK team. I said, hey guys, the SDK streams were cool. So I think they're getting ready for September 1.
Nice. That'll be exciting. Before that, again, one more SDK question. Are there any plans to allow devs to determine the viewing order of liveries by their choice in modular projects? Currently, liveries and presets are based on alphabetical sorting.
Yeah, so we had a close inspection on that. So there's no like simple solutions and that would be compatible with all types of aircraft and editions. But we've got some idea to improve this. So that's a new request for us. It has been included into the wish list that we have. It was not there so far. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a plan today, and so we'll talk with Jorg, obviously, and the team and see how this will be prioritized. This is an English word I'm struggling to say. Prioritized to considering all the other topics we already have in the wish list.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Because it's interesting. So the balance between free flight and career and the other modes, I think it's 55 free flight, 35 career. And then between the Challenge League, landing challenges, and World Photographer, I think they take the last 10%.
Interesting. Okay. Thanks, Jorg. One more chat question. Any updates on performance when landing? Sim runs great for an entire flight right up until I'm about 100 feet off the ground from landing.
At a big airport.
Yeah, so I think this goes back to what I tried to explain earlier about optimization of the main thread. usually when you land, it's a big airport. Big airports are very heavy on the main thread, and we're currently working on optimizing the main thread as much as we can, which should relieve the main thread and landing on big airports. So flying in high in the sky or in the countryside where there's not much big airport around, usually it's not the main thread which is the limiter of performance, but on bigger airports it is. We've found quite a few things already that we could optimize in big airports. It's a long process because nothing is taking more than 0.5% or less, even less. But we're sticking to it, and small optimization by small optimization, we're getting there. So now I don't. It's not the same. So there's a bit. There's also VRAM, which is obviously more heavy on big airports. There's also just the fact that you stream more stuff, or you load in more stuff, whether it's streamed or whether it's cached on the hard drive. You have stuff which is coming into the scene and which needs to be loaded and decompressed, initialized, and all that, which is not necessarily on the main thread. But we're working on it.
Thanks. And and from chat and from our feedback, they're also seeing it at small airports as well. So I'm curious if that would be the same issues with the main thread as well.
So there's small airports are like big ones, just smaller. So there's nothing special about them. If big airports are faster, smaller ones would be faster, unless there's really some completely exceptional POI or thing in the world. But on average, we're looking more at big airports because whatever we find there is also going to improve small airports.
Okay. Thank you, Seb.
Just about
Sorry,
Jayne. I've just seen somebody saying that he had some sound issue, some popping issue on the sound when the CPU was 100%. Actually, it's a bug we were talking about 2 hours from now with the team. So we are on it.
Oh, awesome.
This has been
Thank you,
addressed.
Martial. Yeah, it's great to know. All right, last question under our various settings here, VATSIM model matching. When can we expect to see more improvements on render distance and model matching for injected aircraft for networks like VATSIM?
So model matching, that's a long topic. So we've already did a lot of improvements with our friends of working titles, not only on model matching, but also for the global air traffic management, especially like ground behaviors. And so you will also see some improvement of the model matching being done in Simulated 3. And there's more to come. Dominic said there's more to come for Simulated 4. We also improved the render distance and with the new LOD system that Seb was talking about 20 minutes ago. And well, here we're especially talking about VATSIM, and that's different because VATSIM is using SimConnect injectors to spawn the aircrafts, and it's not using the matching model. Actually, it's a completely different system. How it works? It's using a string to directly create an aircraft depending of his name. And if it's not matching the plan that we have, then it's just not getting created. So it's a different system. It's not using the same pipeline because of this VATSIM connection thing. And so we look at this. It will be super hard to make it match and to ingest that into the system that we have. So for VATSIM or any other SimConnect users, they will have to maybe do some changes in order to have more plane being spawned.
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I just want to shout out VATSIM is actually helping us right now with ATC and localized ATC. So I think we should just engage. We have a Discord with them now, so we'll chat with them about this. If I may, Jayne, I got an answer from, I was just typing because I saw the, can we get performance data added to the flight planner performance page, please, from Relaxing Mood. So I just got an answer from Chris Burnett. Yes, it is on the SU3 list I sent. He sent me yesterday. So for piston aircraft, it will be available for Sim Update 3, as well as for jets where the developer has completed the flight performance CFG.
Awesome.
So that's the answer.
Thanks for getting that answer. All right. Obviously, we see your questions in chat. So we do have shared cockpit. Hello, would you please provide an update on the status of shared cockpit feature? Is it still planned for 2024, or has it shifted to a longer-term roadmap? For many in the community, shared cockpit is a vital part of the simulator experience, especially for cooperative flying, IFR procedures, instruction, and shared missions.
Yeah, I've got a lot of pressure because I've seen a lot of requests on that topic on the chat. So in order to have the shared cockpit working, we need to duplicate 4 different kinds of data. The very first one is the aircraft physics, positions, rotations, and every single part. We've got every single mechanical elements that have to be replicated. All the standard cockpit instruments have to be duplicated also, and the tricky part is the glass cockpits. And this has to be done in a very high frequency. So for the very first 3 ones, the physics, every mechanical elements, and the standard cockpit, we already have a system. I was talking about SimConnect to create planes. SimConnect is also used to share what we call the SimVars, and SimVars are linked on the physics elements and on some data of the sim, and the SimVars are also driving all the animations for the standard instruments. So this is doable. I wouldn't say it's easy, but this using that kind of mechanism as SimConnect is doable. We've got a prototype working today, but it's only on PC because we are using that SimConnect layer. So if we want this to be cross-platform, we'll have to take that prototype and make it work inside the main core, the executable. And this is going to take some time. And I was saying that the glass cockpits are the tricky part. In fact, you can see a glass cockpit as a little independent piece of software running in our main piece of software. So there's a lot. It's really independent there. They've got their own variables, and this has also to get a way to get replicated, read, and write. So in order to do that, we need to create a new API on which we will allow the author of the glass cockpit code to expose those variables, and then having a mechanisms that reads and writes depending on who is going to manipulate the glass cockpit. And this is completely new, and this is not done at all. So we think we should proceed in several steps. So the first one maybe would be to do the integration of the prototype that we have into the executable, and that we then allow people to do some shared cockpits with what I call standard planes, but it's not really standard, but it's like old-fashioned planes with old-fashioned instruments, and that will maybe not work for all kind of aircraft to start with, but we will start with something else. And then we will have to improve that part and to create the API I was talking about to allow people to share the variables used in the glass cockpits. So we already talked with our friends of working titles, and maybe we could start with the Garmin G1000. So we still have to talk about that, but well, we were talking about starting with this glass cockpit first. And then when it's done, we'll have to expose the API and wait for all the glass cockpit to use that API. And that you've got a situation on which you can say that you've got a shared cockpit working for most of the planes. And I'm talking about planes there.
But the upshot
it's a long road.
The upshot is we heard, yeah, and we're going to get, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be in steps, right? And then,
yeah, exactly. So as usual, I will take my producer hat. This has to be scoped, to be put in the roadmap. Obviously, it's a lot of work, a lot of refactorization. So as Jorg was saying, we were planning on doing that, but we still have to figure out when will be the ATA. I can't communicate on that today. Mm-hmm. But yes, we've got a kind of roadmap. We've been talking about that with the teams, with the partners. And so we've got a plan, but we don't have a schedule yet.
Yes, thank you for the explanation on the steps to take. Looks like we got people in chat willing to help beta test it when you're ready. That's very exciting. Thanks, Martial.
Here we go.
Next question, post SU4 development. You all have been hard at work to iron out many bugs since launch. My gut feeling is that SU4 will also be spent on bug fixing. Can you take us a bit further into the future and tell us a little bit about new developments that we can expect after SU4?
Yeah, I mean, so we are actually doing, so your gut is exactly the right gut feeling. SU4 is largely, so Seb talked about optimizations for performance. There's still open topics, as you know, and a lot of these questions are about these things. But we have now started to talk about what is beyond, what comes in 2026 and 27 and 28, etc. And we are now t-shirt sizing. We actually start with the wish list, believe it or not. T-shirt sizing the wish list is currently going on, and then there's other things that are not on the wish list that are also something that we know people will want. So we are working on a plan. So we are, I think somebody asked me earlier, like maybe I should just speak for 1 second, like has Flight Sim been affected by the Microsoft things of late, the news about our staff? And the answer is directly no. The Flight Sim team, Flight Sim is highly regarded product. Everybody is aware of, we have a great community and all that stuff's great, but we did lose some colleagues, just to say that. It was a rough couple of weeks there for at least. But Flight Sim, we are fully funded for the years to come, and we are planning out what we're going to do with that time. And we're listening carefully to what you have to say. Hopefully that answers that.
Yep. Thank you, Jorg. World Hub. I'm really looking forward to the World Hub and the community creativity it will unlock. Any news on when the World Hub may enter beta again, or any new features that are being worked on?
Yeah, so it's been, so for us, the sequence was we wanted to really synchronize the world between 2024 and 2020, so people can say these are our aerials, this is our height field, these are the tin areas, etc. So that's done now, and that was one of those things. Do we really want to put out a World Hub that allows people to work against the data set in 2020 that then changes in 2024? It didn't really make any sense. So we now have that accomplished. That's coming out with Sim Update 16, and at that point we can now go back to the World Hub. It is one of the features. It's actually, I think it's wishlist number 6 or 7 or something. So it's definitely being talked about. Don't have a date today, but obviously we made it in the first place because we think it's valuable and it's actually really positive. And so we're going to go back. Just don't have a date yet.
Yeah. Thanks, Jorg. World Photographer mode. I greatly enjoyed the World Photographer mode, completed the majority of it already, and was optimistic that it would continue to grow with the sim, ideally receiving new batches of content with city and world updates. Though never actually announced, is this something we might be able to expect with future updates once the team can shift more resources away from bugs and onto new content?
Yeah, so we just shifted development of missions from external teams that we had for years. Actually, we are shifting this to Asobo, which I think increases our chances to do all these types of things. We haven't really plotted out exactly what we're going to do, but yes, your idea is exactly what the idea was, right? When we have a new area of the world, let's go embrace it, make a little picture collection with it, etc., etc. So my expectation is we're going to do more of these things. I think it's going to probably be a next year thing that we really start this again. But yeah.
Okay. And same around bush trips. Will you be bringing them back soon?
So maybe the word soon is not the right word, but so we have talked to some developers externally that are really great at bush trips, and I'm sort of almost in my mind personifying it. And I think the way I would like to do this is to actually do something. I think God Friends did something like a month ago or something, which was, they called it the month of soaring or something. I thought it was great, and I told Brandon I thought it was great because it really sort of puts focus on it. I think there should be something similar for bush trips. When that exactly will be, not this year, but when we do it, then we actually want to do it a little bit more holistically. One of the things with bush trips that was always hard was that the scripts didn't exactly work right. Now we talked about this last time. The bootstrap injector is going to go away at the end of this year. This is a serious thing. So we need to look at that as well. But yes, bootstrap. I mean, the world we have is perfect for bootstraps, right? So should we do more with bootstraps? No kidding. But we need to do it, broader than just putting some new bootstraps into some world update or something.
Okay. And landing challenges. Will there be improvements to landing challenges in 2024, particularly in terms of post-landing analysis and detailed feedback? The current version offers less detail than 2020.
Yes, that's right. So the page has been completely redesigned, and obviously we missed some information there. I think that should be brought back. So that's going to be put in the pipeline. And so the answer is yes. I agree. We need more analysis and better explanation for the score you're going to get in challenges.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about City Update 12.
Okay, so can you want to hit one more time?
Sure.
This is going to be a little bit interesting. So we're launching it at Gamescom, and I can't tell you what it is because they wanted to hold it back for Gamescom. I can tell you it's not in the US, it's in Europe.
Okay.
I can't even show pictures.
You're sure you've got the right to say that?
Don't get me started, man. Like, anyways, it's coming. It's going to be cool. And then Make Good Aircraft number 4, also at Gamescom. Also can't show you a picture. Oh, but I can't say it's a rotorcraft.
All right, let the guesses begin.
I know, but I really wanted to show it. But
yeah,
starting next time, we get to show pictures again because there's no trade show.
Awesome. No problem.
We can. Yeah, so for those of you, I saw a lot of people at the beginning from Germany. Hey, countrymen. I'm actually going to be in Germany. The team is in Germany. We have a cool booth. There's some surprises. If you're at Gamescom, show up because it's kind of cool. But that's why we're holding this back for a few more weeks.
Yeah, come out to Gamescom. All right.
Jayne's going to be there. Oh, yeah.
I'll be there.
Right.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about the marketplace. We got some questions here. First one about renting, seeing this in chat a lot. The marketplace has gotten the option to rent a plane. Will this renting option ultimately be added to all airplanes or maybe even all content, or is this a creator's decision? It seems such a perfect way to try out content before one decides to buy it or not.
Yeah. So you might have seen, obviously we did rentals. So here's a page that shows the 9 rentals. We did first party. That was basically a soft launch of our rental feature. We want to make sure everything works. And I'm excited to announce that later today or maybe tomorrow, depending on where you live, third parties will be able to set rentals on all content they have in the 2024 marketplace, including native 2024 products, but also 2020 ports. And the creators have the ability to set like a 1-day, 3-day, or 7-day rental. They can also have the option to make the 1-day rental free. So as a free trial. And as I said, and I was insistent, like when I first talked about the rental feature, that basically if you rent an item and then you decide to purchase it within a certain time frame, I think it's a week or something, then that amount that you rented it for will be counted against the purchase price. So I think it's super cool. I've been hit up by quite a few creators that want to actually do this. So I'm pretty excited. Like the feature works. I've seen some or many of you actually try it. And I think this will be a sort of a new way to engage. And I'm committed to making our things rentable from day one. So we're going to lead the way.
That is awesome news. Thank you.
Gifts. Yeah, gifting. Mm-hmm. I think it's currently on the roadmap still for Sim Update 4. There's some funky stuff going on with gifting. You have to be careful with currencies and things that or the other, right? So I think we're going to go limit the which currencies gifting is available for. Don't know the details, but I'll have the details by next time we meet.
All right, filtering creators. At the moment, the marketplace has become quite clogged with a large amount of content from a few creators. This has made browsing really tedious. We would like to have the option to exclude creators in our filters and include every other one and make this a permanent filter. Why is this not an option?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a personal story. So I actually went into the marketplace like a month ago or something, and I really struggled with it, which kicked off a pretty long investigation about marketplace. There's some performance things, but there's also some usability things, this being among them. And then I completely agree that there's a lot of I want to be careful with the wording, but there's some things that I prefer not to see. Like I wouldn't want it as a consumer. So we're gonna go and design a bunch of stuff. The marketplace is intended for y'all. And in my mind, in my heart, it should be the best place to shop for flight simulation. And when it's not, it makes me sad. So we're going to go put quite a bit of effort into making it great, listening carefully to you guys, and hopefully make it wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Jorg. My library improvements. Are there any plans for quality of life improvements in my library in the near future?
Not sure about near future. I mean, in general, like the UI, we said that earlier. We're going to take a harder look at the UI. I don't know, Martial, you want to add something to this?
It's a long conversation that we have started some weeks ago. So we have some plans here already. I don't know if we can commit to anything today, but yeah, this is one part of the product we want to improve.
Yeah,
definitely. We're on the same page.
I saw the God Friends thing. Can you make it? So I just said you can select the day one as free if you want. It's up to you guys. I mean, it's y'all's creation. You can set your own. I mean, you set your own price. Do whatever you want.
Cool. Okay, marketplace lag. Some 24 marketplace products are still lagging behind the current version released by their developers. What are your plans to reduce this lag time, and when will we see improvement?
So I'm actually going to, this is interesting because last time we said we have deregulated a lot of this, right? We used to go localize everything, which added a certain amount of lag. Then we tested everything, which also added a certain amount of lag. We removed that lag. And when I look at our backlog, it's not anything really. I mean, there's lots of stuff, but it's mostly on the developer side that they have to finish testing. So I think sometimes there's a perception issue here that the developers choose to put it elsewhere, not in the marketplace. And then what y'all see is like, why is it not in the marketplace? I mean, I kind of have the same reaction, but it's their creation, right? So if they want to put it on some other website or something, that's cool. But we can't do anything about that, right? So not much we can do. So I think we should be as fast as any other marketplace, just about. Like there's maybe the Xbox thing, but it should be dramatically better than it was. And if there are some specific things where you see a lot of lag, I'd love to hear what they are, because I want to see is this on us or the developer just didn't want to put it in the marketplace yet for whatever reason. So I'd love to get some feedback. Maybe Jayne, you can fire up a thread on the forums or something, because I'd like to understand. I want to understand better.
I sure can. Okay, sounds great. All right, so let's take a look at the roadmap ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so without showing any pictures, it's a little bit, I like pictures, as you probably know. So, City Update 12 comes in August alongside Local Legend 21. Then in September comes Local Legend 22. That actually comes with a world update, just to sort of, I didn't even put that on the slide. And then in October comes a famous flyer. So we're filling out the grid. And then the Sim Update 3, we hope it's next week, but it really comes down to these final little optimizations, important optimizations that need to be happening. Sim Update 16 is not even on here. And then I'm looking forward to the surprise Sim Update 4 and surprise thing, because it's always fun. But yeah, we have a great plan for the rest of the year, really. I think you're going to be, I'm very proud of what we're doing, and I think you'll like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, it is time to finally introduce the guest that we have on with us today. So without further ado, we have Marwan. Marwan, welcome to our dev stream. How are you doing? We got you muted, but I'm sure you've been waiting a long time for this.
All right, let's try again.
There we go.
Hello?
Welcome.
All right, fantastic.
Happy
Hi,
to have
Jayne.
you
How are you
here.
doing? Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah,
How are you,
obviously.
Marcel and Seb?
Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Great job,
Thank you
man.
very much for having me.
there was a plane released just yesterday. So take us through what just released yesterday and what you've been working on.
All right, fantastic. So, first of all, I'm Marwan from FlightFX. If you don't not familiar with us, we released the H-Jet Vision Jet P180, and this is our 4th release. This is our biggest release yet, so we're extremely excited to show it off here in the stream, show some of the cool things that we've done. Just give you a very, very brief look on the new Cessna Citation 10. So this is now available in the marketplace for 2020 and 2024. So this is a personal anecdote. This is my favorite aircraft ever. I mean, like when I say ever, I mean ever. It can fly all the way to 51,000 feet. Flies at Mach 0.92. That's 92% of the speed of sound. And this sounds more impressive, right? And the main thing I love about this thing is that look at these engines. So we have an internal joke. We call them, these are the Mickey Mouse ears. These are the actual engines that you would find on an J145. So it shares the same engines as an aircraft designed to carry 50 people in a fuselage that is designed to carry 9 people maximum, but usually just carries less than that. So this is our first adventure as well into actually developing our own avionics suite. This is a replica of the HP 2000. There's nothing like that in the sim so far, and it's been a journey. So just I'll give you through a very, very, very quick look at what we've done. This is our most advanced tablet yet. I think we have capabilities that really match aircraft that are maybe sold for 2, 3, 4 times our prices. You get like your typical interfaces. You know, we have weights with, you can import weights with an internet API from SimBrief. It's stuff like this that I want to stress that are, I think, are quite advanced for this category of aircraft. You have charts integration, your typical ground services, everything that you would expect in a tablet. But like one of the cool features that for some reason, like I spent maybe 3-4 days working on, is the ability to just move the tablet around. Like we physically modeled in code the collisions around the tablet and let it know its space in world and space and stuff. So this is our most advanced tablet yet. We're very, very, very proud of. I think it's extremely useful, especially with syncing your weights and having fine control over everything here. Now the actual avionics are the HP 2000, and we've modeled the whole deal here, the PFD, MFD, the ECAS, the FMC, which is like obviously the most challenging aspect of it. So we have something like maybe 30 pages modeled across all the workflow. We do have like integration from online services as well for synchronization of flight plans and stuff like that. One of the things that we are also extremely proud of that like took us a lot of sleepless nights and computational work is some of the stuff that you see here in the MFD, something like the vertical situation display, where you give the FMC a bunch of constraints and it draws out the whole extent from A to Z, where it will draw a path that takes all your departure constraints, your cruising altitude, your descent constraints, and it's actually multiple top of descents, multiple top of climbs, depending on the complexity of the procedure that you've chosen. So this is something I think is also like very, very unique to this aircraft. We have, I would imagine that a very, very advanced FADEC. Like the actual aircraft also has a FADEC where you just put it in the cruise detent, and depending on your altitude, temperature, density, it will achieve specific, N1 targets, will achieve specific speeds and stuff. And we have that model to a very, very, very close values to what the real world aircraft is. And it's something that is also like, when you compare the values side by side, it's something that we're extremely proud of as well. So you're going to be finding a very, very deep, hopefully, representation of the HP 2000 and in general. And this is going to be like a building stone, as well as we're departing towards other aircraft that uses this kind of, avionics suite. And then you have the Citation 10 specific systems. Like we're going to go more in depth in this, and I'm hoping that I've sparked the interest of the viewers, that they can join us in the upcoming, in the next stream with Tuto and Murphy, where we go into details and in depth on the AE system. But all I want to say that we're going to be having like a fleshed out electrical system, hydraulic system, pressurization system. We went to town with that. So that's from a system perspective. Another addition that we have that I personally felt that is very important for this airplane, that we have a retrofit, and this is actually like a real world retrofit of an auto throttle. But this is not just a simple auto throttle. This is a speed hold. This is like, there is an equivalent real world unit being used, and this is like a fully VNAV coupled auto throttle that has, I think, around maybe 15 modes, depending on how the aircraft is flying, and will take it from point A to point B. You don't have to touch the throttles if you don't need to. It will go, through all this flat speeds for you, to all the way to, 250 knots below 10,000 feet, 300 knots above, or whatever you have set up in the FMC. And landing, it will handle your speed constraints. It will handle slowing down. It will even handle and say retard when you're, touching down on the runway. So I think it's also a very important, distinction in Citation 10. I think it's pretty fleshed out, and would make flying this airplane, it's extremely fun, and flying it in general, and this would make it fun and maybe perhaps a little bit less intimidating and easier. So let me just give you also a pretty just quick view about the one thing we've done here, actually, is that we realized that Asobo Microsoft have given us something called detail maps. We didn't know about that before, and it's certainly it's something that we discovered. Hey, we can do more with less. I don't need like 8K texture to get out details. I can put out the texture and then put details on it. So we've went to town with this. We use this, and I've used this. Every surface in the airplane is going to be having these kind of details where you can really zoom in and see the details. So no matter how much you zoom in, you're going to be finding it. We went to town with that. It's on the interior, exterior. That helps us not like, I don't need tons of 8K textures, to get this kind of details. So it's the first as well for us, and I think it turned out looking really well. We're kind of liking how generally things have turned out. So this is kind of like the fabric texture, for example. We can zoom in, the leather on the seats, obviously the carpet, things like that. We have a very special color scheme here. Maybe I can show that, kind of nice lighting, if I may, just a very quick demo. Because right, so night lighting is something that we really worked on. So first of all, also we have an option. We have like, these are CRTs, and like if you zoom in, we actually have some nice CRT effects. I don't know how it comes across on the stream, but I think it's cool. We can have LCD display. So there's a certain level of customizations that we have here. I just wanted to show some night lighting. Hopefully I have the correct electrical setup for it. Yes, lovely. In the cabin and cockpit. So yeah, that's a very quick overview. It has, I think, a bit more depth that I would like to talk about in more detail, but I don't want to overstay my welcome. And I want to thank you very much, actually, for giving me the chance to showcase our FlightFX Citation 10, and looking forward to everyone joining in the next stream to get into a little bit more in depth and details as well. One last note: sounds. We flew on a Citation 10. We recorded all the sounds. We're working with Boris AudioWorks on the sounds. I think the sounds are fantastic. We've got a lot of very, very positive feedback on that. So I'm gonna go. So let's hope to see you in the next stream. And thank you very much for the time to let me showcase this.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Marwan.
it.
Yeah, congratulations. And yes, our special treat, Two Tone Murphy, is actually live right now on his Twitch channel. In a minute here, we will go ahead and raid. And Marwan, will you also be on that that stream as well, talking with Two Tone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. He's going to give a great inside look at the plane and be talking with FlightFX developers. So just everybody just hang out here for a second, then we'll go raid. Thank you so much, Marwan, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jayne. Appreciate it. Thank you.